Very quick recap. So, remember, we had outed, not outed, but we knew, at least us as the reader, knew of two of the wolves, being the reporter and Chikamochi. Mochi was still hanging around. The reporter had been dead for a while. Chikamochi kind of hanging around. We entered a new round of the game after we had ingested poison, and we had been saved by Rikako, because we elected not to hang Rikako in this canon storyline, timeline, that's the word I'm looking for. So we hung the old man and not Rikako, so she was able to save us from the poisoning by her own special powers. We had this bit where afterwards, after we had recovered from the bout of poison, Chiemi came and visited us at our place before we had to rest for the night. Chiemi did a lot of crying. She was like, oh, I fucking love you for some reason, and he's like, oh, it's fine, I can't, though, because in his head, I think he said something like, ooh, in this round, I'm really partnered up with Rikako, so screw Chiemi, or something like that. Already losing my voice. And so the love triangle between the three of them here on our screen right here, kind of was manifested more, and then she was very upset about things. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat. I'm gonna mute myself and do one big one here. Perfect. Okay, so if you only heard the noise I just made behind my mic. So then, she, she's crying and she's like, oh, why can't we be together? I'm very upset, yada, yada, yada. Almost to the point, I don't think I voiced it, because I think I voiced it way in the past, but I think if I didn't know any better, her being this upset and her being such an important character leads me to think that at least also her is, also a looping person along with our main character, but we don't have time to get into that right now. I've previously talked about the possibility that if one person's looping, what are the chances that some other looper is also available and everything? And again, I won't get too much into it, my theory and all, but like, if she got to experience that first loop where we were really with her and like we went to the end with her and we tried to escape with her and then she ended up dying in the mist and all that, if she's remembering that moment, like, I could maybe 100% more understand just how in this loop she's a lot more upset that he's not as receiving of her love, potentially, kind of thing, and she had that kind of like really close relationship with him, and now this one he seems to be different, and now, again, don't need to go into it, but who knows? Does she know he's looping? Does he know she's looping? If she is indeed looping, who fucking knows? Okay, so then Rikako showed up to my place as well, and so then they were both talking, and there was some kind of discussion where it was like, even if you like me, we can't possibly work together. And then, like, they delved more into Rikako's background and her family's background about the bed servant, woman reaper, bed dawn, woman servant, a bed something, I don't know. It's bed, woman servant. Let's just go with that. So we went into the background of that, about how, like, this really traditional kind of like structure of the families in this society, right, where the different families that we've talked about, the 4 different like family names and everything, had like different like specialties or things that they ruled over. So like, the medicine for the Nosato family, and what were the other ones? Maybe, I don't know, food supply for another one, or politics for another, whatever the fuck. They don't matter right now. The one that mattered was the Uematsu family, where basically it was like, yeah, as you probably could have put together, the woman servant to, you know, however lewd you want to get with it, they would be like the kind of like the family that would check in on the families, both for healing properties and also sexual pleasures. And so they would probably go around and do all these things, and that, you know, in her head, both she feels like, I'm really summarizing, generalizing here, but she probably looks back on that and feels a bit tainted and feels, I don't know what you would say, unclean or something, because there was a line where she was like, oh, when I explained all this, I'm surprised you're not just like turned off by this kind of thing. And he's like, fucking whatever, you know, he was doing his own thing and saying whatever he wanted. But basically she was like, oh, this is what my family was doing back then. And now with like, there was a bit about how like, obviously in the more, as time becomes more and more modern, that role and those services, I guess you could say, were diminished, and the importance of those were diminished. And so her standing and the standing in the family became less and less, where they had less power as a family, again, in this kind of like society kind of thing. So there was a whole big explanation about that. So then we went to, fast forward to the the next feast meeting, and basically they're still going with the majority, the confirmed majority, something majority. I can't remember any terms this game starts throwing at me. Jesus, my brain sucks so bad. So like the majority thing that they've got going with some of the thing, they're like, where it's only a matter of time till we win kind of thing. And then it basically was like, oh, so the person that ended up getting killed was Kaori. That's an important factor. So Kaori was killed, upsetting some people, obviously. You know, her sons, naturally. And so Kaori was murdered, and they're like, oh shit. Yoshisugu was like, hey, she told me that if she was to die, I gotta like reach into her and pull out a tube thing. And then there's this whole bit about the tube with the names and then the fingers and the death thing. I won't recount the whole thing. Go watch the last part if you need to, but, or if you haven't already, or you already know, but I know in my head, the whole tubes, the fingers, whatever. And then they're like, ooh, what if this is so unnatural, because if you get slashed, you wouldn't be able to control your fingers like that. So this feels like a pose done by the wolves who maybe knew this information. And they're like, oh shit, that's so fucking smart. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't want to give him any more credit. So then they were like, okay, we're basically deciding who is the last wolf, because Chikamochi was accused as a wolf and was just fucking taking it. Mochi was like this mix of like resigned to the fact that he was already being called out as a wolf, and also his lackadaisical normal nature, where he's just like, I don't fucking care, I'm not gonna be able to convince you guys otherwise, like, whatever, I'm just a fucking kid who's weird or something. So they were like, okay, Mochi, you're not really defending yourself. And he's like, well, what do you want me to do? I hate this place. That's basically what I would do. I'd be like, I'm not wasting any more energy defending myself. This place is nuts. Take me out of here. So they're like, so Mochi's like, okay, that's fine, whatever. So they're deciding who's the last one. And they're like, is it Chiemi or is it Rikako Imatsu? And Rikako Imatsu finally comes out and says, this is it's basically, it was theorized by our main character, but now it was basically implied that, yeah, Meiko was the spider. I was helping her protect people. We don't know what the fuck the old man was doing, but fucking whatever. Obviously, it's been talked about previously about why Rikako was saying that she was the spider to try to protect Meiko, and also if the wolves targeted her, then she would be able to like die, and then everyone else would think that the spider was dead while the spider's still alive with Meiko. Yada, yada, yada. So then they're like, okay, so we're still deciding between Rikako and Chiemi, and then, like, finally, it was like mask off moment where we ended, basically, where like, Chiemi was like, alright, you know what, Chikamochi, the jig is up, we're losing here, seemingly, so let's just pull out some shotguns or something, and that is, like, immediately where we stopped. Great, we recapped in, like, 10 minutes. I hope everyone loves the recaps. The bit being that no one likes the recaps, but I've carried over the recaps from our Umineko and Higurashi readings, and I think in a weird way they forced me to help to remember some story beats from the last time. Like, even just saying it out loud helps me, like, recall everything. Oh, alright, so we're gonna go right to the CG, where the cool action pose, Chikamochi with a gun, why do I keep saying Chiemi? I was combining Rikako and Chiemi's name, so I kept wanting to go Riemi. Riemi? They got guns, we'll see it here. Oh shit, what a cool pose. Oh, and I talked about just how cool of, like, honestly, you know, not me being harsh or anything, but most of the character designs in this game are just, like, standard. They work, you know, like, they're serviceable is, like, the term I do. But in some of these CGs, especially like this one, I was talking about glowing praise. Chiemi's character design, I like so much. It's kind of, like, understated. In this one, it's obviously heightened, like, fucking murderous face going on. But the fucking jacket, the hood up, oh man, just so cool. And I was on this train for the longest of time. Go back to one of the earlier streams in this. Chiemi, probably my favorite character in this game. One of the few standouts for me. Mochi is interesting, but it's fun, just oddball character. Obviously, my hate for the main protagonist is well established. But Chiemi, great. Lots of fun. Okay, so what's going to happen here? Place your bets, if you don't know. If you already know, then don't place your bets. You already know what's going to happen. But, it would be... My main thought since this showed and appeared, and we were leaning towards, like, seemingly the end of this loop, right? The whole idea was that we were coming very close to solving the wolf problem, right? So my head was like, all right, well, I don't think we're near the end of this game, right? So I was like, there has to be something that, like, makes this a losing loop for us. And the simplest answer would be here that we got so close, and then Chiemi and Chikamochi here just take us out, right? That would be the simplest thing. Would it be an Occam's razor, I guess? Sort of, kind of, not really. But, like, hey, we need to have a losing loop here again so that we're forced to redo things. Excuse me. So just give some bad guys some guns and let them take people out. Also, I would feel, again, I don't think we're close to finishing this game. And my long-held belief was that, especially with these two loops, where, like, in one loop we've partnered up with Chiemi, and the other loop we partnered up with Rikako, my whole brain just simple thing solution seems to be like he needs to do a loop where he somehow, especially with all three of them on the title screen and all, and they're very important characters, obviously, and have important bits to them. I'd assume that we have to, like, form a trio and to win, you know? And then, as I said before, I think we form a throuple, we leave this village, and we go have fun. You know? Easy. Anyway, Chiemi says, let's kill them all. Everyone here had a certain hope. Oh, there's an autosave right there. They believed that, if exposed, the wolves would admit it and give themselves in. It would be too late for them to keep struggling, after all. Certainly they wouldn't attack the humans head on. Certainly, their ex-neighbors wouldn't be that malicious and murderous. I couldn't blame them for their optimism. I was the only one who knew how bad Yasunaga Uribe changed last time, so I should have been the one to take care. However, even I could be taken off guard. I knew that the current wolves were wicked, but I thought it was because of Chikamochi Kamoshida, the boy with unusual tendencies and devilish intuition. I knew that she could use a gun, but I didn't expect her to whip one out right in front of us. She was the girl who told me to leave her and run despite the invisible god terrorizing her. The girl who'd opened herself up to me despite knowing it wasn't meant to be. I never would have thought she'd bring a gun to this place and try to take everyone with her. The turn was so unexpected that the smart ones here were frozen. Those who hadn't suspected her weren't moving either. The ones who did...
Jimmy,
Jimmy, stop! Was the one most proactive among us. You fool! And the one who didn't trust anyone. When the first shot was fired, the buckshot aimed at the end of the circle was blocked by Takumi-san's body. Ooh. His large frame absorbed the bullets, bursting apart. Huh? That's my best. Past his collapsing body, I saw her face, a beastly smile. A moment later, Chikamochi Kamoshida fired his own gun. It feels like cheating. No guns allowed in our wolf game. Kanzoshi was charging toward him with clenched fist, and the shot blew off his face. Next, beyond the bloody mist they left behind, I saw the eyes of a bird of prey. Run! The next person Chemi aimed at was Yoshisuga-kun, who was trying to charge at her. That was when Kanzo-san, on the verge of death, landed a punch on Chikamochi, as I absentmindedly watched. Kyo, Fusaishi. It's up to you. I felt like I heard that voice, which snapped me out of my torpor. Torpor? Kinosuke was the same in that regard. Our eyes met, and then I hurried to take Rikako-san and Meiko's hands while he grabbed Yasunaga-kun by the shoulders. Without even seeing the results of the third shot, we ran straight for the exit. We were closer to the exit than the elder side. We heard another gunshot, but we weren't in a situation to turn around. Rikako-san dropped to the ground, letting out a cry as she did, and I ended up basically dragging her so we could evade our assailants. Gung 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 gung. Kinosuke saw that. His expression changed, and he, still holding Yasunaga-kun's hand, used his open hand to push my shoulder. I felt like there was a silent understanding between us. Not saying a thing, we hurriedly let go of Yasunaga-kun and took Rikako-san's hand while I took Yasunaga-kun's now empty hand. It was an irrational action. However, I probably thought that I had no right to hold her by the hand, a feeling which made it hard for me to run. Kinosuke staunchly grasped her and started running. Following his example, I took Meiko under my arm and started running, pulling Yasunaga-kun with me. The young man seemed to be in a stupor. Was it just me, or was the mist even denser than usual? Probably felt that way because I was running, making the lack of visibility way more dangerous. I followed the gravel path and ran up a hill. It's okay. I can run by myself now. Hearing that clear voice, I let go of his hand. Where should we run? The Nosato Mansion. It's the sturdiest building here. That made sense. The other two were going there too, so if we regrouped and held our ground there. Sliding into action. Suddenly, I heard laughter coming from the side. It almost makes me freeze, but I held myself together and lowered my head. Another gunshot. I could clearly feel the bullets fly past the top of my head. Jenny! Why? Keep running! Wah. Meiko cried for the first time ever. I had to keep running while closing her mouth. I had expected Yasunaga-kun to be right behind me, but I couldn't hear his footsteps anymore. Please stop. He was probably trying to convince Chiemi. Oh. Love quadrilateral. It's a love square. You gotta love rhombus. I mean, that's already been established, right? His whole into Chiemi kind of thing. That's what happens. When you're in a very closed off, secluded village, everyone is into everyone. It's just like, remember back in the day, fucking a show like, I don't know, Jersey Shore, and like you would tune in for some wonderful television, and then it's like by the end of that whole stretch of series and seasons, like everyone had slept with everyone at some point. It was like just some big old unfortunate melting pot of relationships, you know? I mean, someone like Yasunaga here, his options aren't like numerous. if you get cast off into a village that you might have a hard time leaving or whatever, you just gotta be like, well, I've always liked you, you know?
私はそうでもなかった。
The feeling ain't mutual. Damn, I love her. I love her. Yep, you verbally backhand him like that. That brief exchange and the gunshot that followed seemed strangely clear. Brutal. Brutal. Please, don't make a sound, Mako. Shit. Was the end of the line? Was this the end of the line for this loop? Wow, it really just came suddenly, yeah. With Japan being a mostly gun-free society, their power could easily be both overestimated as well as underestimated, making it hard for us to gauge. However, here in a mist where I could barely see anything and could be hit at point-blank range by surprise, I was all too aware. Guns are frightening tools that could end a life with a single pull of the trigger.
どこかな、Haruaki-san?
Haruaki-san, where are you? I made it to Tai Yamawaki-san's house, hid behind it, and waited. I had to catch my breath and figure out my best route to the Nosato mansion. By following this path, I could pass the collapsed construction site and arrive at the mansion. That was the fastest way there, but I wasn't sure it was safe.
出てきたら助けてあげるよ。嘘だけど。
Come out, I'll help you. Yeah, right. She's so catty. Hearing that cheerful voice, I heard the unlocked door open up. I'd ran as fast as I could, but she caught up easily, probably due to her healthy legs and familiarity with the land. Remember how, like, the end of the first loop, he was like, oh, how do I change? Well, no, I was going to say something, but I think I'm dumb. Nah, I'll hold it. Okay, Mako, yeah, just read, Austin. Just read the text on the screen. It was what everyone's saying. Mako was trying really hard not to scream, and I was hoping that she could hold it in. Hearing someone enter, I counted to 5 and snuck out. I didn't sense anyone following me. Going down the hill, I passed the plaza and continued making my way to the Nosato mansion, hoping they missed me. Putting Mako on my back, I continued sneaking. This was the second time I'd reached the final stage with her by my side. Was it fate or something? Shaking away that question, I went ahead. I kept moving forward, and quickly found out I was being too naive. Who would you rather get die? Whose hands would you rather have kill you? Weird Chikamochi or Chiemi? I think I would rather die by Chiemi's hands. And that's nothing really against Chikamochi, but like there's something very unnerving about him. It's very something unnerving to be killed by someone who's kind of like mentally, I don't want to say unstable. That's a little not accurate, right? But like he's younger, kind of goofy. You'd be like, ah shit. Ah shit. Funny. There was a person right before the mansion. You're way funnier now than when you were alive, uncle. Damn. Also, he's gonna call you like Hassan or something as he kills you, and you're like, that's not my name. Ugh! There was a mess that looked vaguely human in front of him. He poked at it with something long and thin, probably a shotgun. Anyway. Guess that just leaves you, doesn't it, Hassan? I didn't know whether it was because he was a wolf or from the Crow family, but hiding behind an Okiba wasn't enough to fool him. Oh, if you turn around and run, I'm gonna hit Mako-chan on your back and kill her. You don't want that, do you? Gah, he was right. That aside, can you just face me? Old man Konzo and Uncle did. It's more fun to me this way. The snappy attitude he'd given us on the latter part of the feast was nowhere to be seen. Faking his behavior to keep up the act just because he was a wolf must have been stressful for him. Right now, I was close to him, and he could tell by his expression that he was extremely refreshed. But man, Kinosuke seemed to have struggled, probably to let Rikako-san escape. He had guts in him somewhere, after all.
りっちゃんみたく背中から撃つのはあんま気分良くないから趣味じゃないな。
I don't like shooting people in the back, like I did with Richen. It's in poor taste. Fuck.
メイコは見逃せよ。
Let Mako run away.
そりゃあ難しいな。狼様的には読み人の筆頭みたいな子だし。
That won't fly. I'm an Okami-sama, you know? Can't let the top Yomibito just walk away.
ま、自分で読みに帰るなら知らないけど。
Though, she could just return to Yomi on her own or something. Was he bound by the curse of the real story? I let Mako go.
この下の崖を目指して、それで川まで降りるんだ。
Go down the cliff. Go down the cliff until you reach the river. Can you do that? Doing that probably meant getting the same ending as last time, but it wasn't impossible that she'd make it. Chemi wasn't with us. Maybe if the little girl was alone. Whatever the case, it was better than just letting her get shot. Fusayuki-san.
大丈夫。
Mako, run. You're gonna die here. Please. It's fine. It's gonna work out. And most importantly, if I died here, all this would return to nothing, and I'd loop. I'd actually reach the point when I considered that in my calculations.
行け。
Go! Oh, that was so sweet sounding. So sad. Let me get that again. It's so sad. Bye, bye. Sad. Bye, bye. As she started to run.
なんて嘘。
Yeah, nah, just kidding. As Shikamochi Kamoshida began aiming at her again, I felt intense anger. I couldn't understand him at all. Was this how they really were? Or was this caused by the real story? My body moved before my messed up brain, which was something I didn't expect. My instinct to protect children must have taken over. I heard the gunshot, then felt the lead bullets bite into my body. Because of the poor visibility, because the buckshot was small, probably meant for birds, the wound wasn't fatal. Still, the pain assaulting my body felt like I was pierced by a dull tip of a sword. I staggered a bit, then fell to my knees. It hurt. A lot. I didn't feel Mako behind me. She must have ran away without looking back. No idea if that meant anything. It hurt. Fuck, it hurt a lot.
何やってんだよ、ハッサン。あんな子のために死んでどうすんの？
What was that about? Why would you die for her?
ハッサンは僕と遊ぶんだ。ハッサンは僕と遊ぶんだよ。
You're supposed to play with me, Hassan. Get it? Play with me. Ignoring my pain, he just said that.
しょうがないな。
Oh well.
やる気がないなら、せめて面白い格好の死体にでも。
If you're not up for it, maybe I can turn you into a funny corpse.
約束が違うじゃん、モッチ。
That's not what we agreed on, Mochi. Oh. As I heard that voice, I looked up and saw that Shikamochi Kamoshida was dead. What? She probably was like, no, I get to take him out, right? The wolf that popped out of the mist wielded a blade instead of a gun.
春明さんは私がって言ったのに。
Yep. I said, I'm gonna take Haruaki-san. It was an extremely sharp kitchen knife. It was embedded to the hilt in the other wolf's head. Yikes. The boy quickly collapsed without saying a word. Chemi grabbed his weapon, checked the chambers, and clicked her tongue. Then she walked up to the boy's corpse.
玉切れじゃん。打ちすぎなんだよ、下手くそモッチ。
Out of shots. What a waste of bullets. You suck, Mochi. And removed the knife from his head. The body jerked for a moment, then lay still. She looked at the weapon, wet with gray matter, then threw it away. I wondered what she'd do next. She took a new weapon out of her sleeve. It was like her entire body was a weapon. I began to question just how well I'd actually known her. Jesus.
春明さんさ、もう誰もいないよ。
Haruaki-san, you're all alone now.
二人きりだね。 ま、だからなんだって感じだけどさ。
It's just the two of us. Not like that means much. She sounded bored, but I could feel the bloodlust and malice behind her words.
もう言葉も出せない感じ？
Can't say anything anymore, huh?
なんで
Why?
あ、喋れてる。よかったよかった。
Ah, you can talk. Good to know.
なんでこんなことを
Why are you doing this?
しょうがないじゃん。しなきゃどうにもなんないんだもん。
Can you blame me? There's no other way for us, is there?
僕は君がそんなやつじゃないと思ってた。
I didn't think you were like this.
起きてだか伝説だか知らないけど、それがいくら怖くても最後は抵抗することを選ぶ子だって思ってた。
I don't know if it's the law or the legend or whatever, but I always thought you'd always resist it, no matter how scary it was.
なのに
Yet you...
残念。
Too bad! She spoke with unbridled malice.
新内さんの言う通り。ばっかみたい。みんな神様に踊らされてるだけなのに。
You think it's because Shinai-san said it? That's just stupid. It's God that's making everyone dance like they are.
CM さんはね、ただ単に最初から殺したくて殺したくて殺したくて殺したくて殺したくて殺したくてたまんなかっただけ。
Listen, I just really wanted to kill.
そう言ったら里帰りしたのだって殺しがしたくて戻ってきたようなもんだったしさ。
Yeah, I haven't returned back home just because I wanted to kill someone.
だから今夢みたいだよ。
That's why I'm feeling great right now.
残念色男さ。芹沢千恵美はそんな人間でした。女を見る目がなかったね。
Too bad, Romeo. That's how I always was. You have no luck with women, do you? Oh, how dare you? You know that's a sore spot for me. But that was just...
春明さんに会った時から思ってたよ。この人を殺したらどうなるかなって。
I thought about what it would be like to kill you from the moment I met you.
ある意味ようやく夢が叶うんだよ今。
In a way, this moment is like a dream come true.
ルール違反の私はどうせ今晩汚れでぐちゃぐちゃの死体になる。これは最後のお楽しみって感じかな。
I'm breaking the rules, so I'll be just a pile of meat tonight. This will be my final bit of fun before that happens.
じゃあこれで。
So now,
賭けをしよ
let's make a bet. All my curiosity about the mystery, the fear of the path leading to it, even the pain were all gone. Only pride was left.
う。10分くれたら僕は必死に逃げる。その後僕を追いかける。逃げ切れば僕の勝ち。君が勝ったらそうだな。
Give me 10 minutes. I'll use them to run away. Once the time's up, you chase after me. If I get away, I win. If you win, I wanted to set my own rules.
僕は君を愛しながら死んでやろう。
I'll die with love for you.
いいね。素敵。
That sounds great. Even if this was a meaningless, insane, dead end, I would go and die in my own way. Albeit staggering, I could still run if I ignored the pain. Blood was flowing out of all the wounds on my body, so I was probably leaving an easy-to-follow trail behind me. Why'd she agree to these terms? I guess maybe just because he was like, I'll love you, or whatever, so that maybe did enough for her. I don't know. Even so, I ran uphill, toward Kami Fujiyoshi. I knew that the path was closed off here. The last loop, Haru-chan had entered the mountain and gotten stuck. The Misty Mountain was a separate realm avoided by the people of Yasumisu. Perhaps like when I'd left with through Saranaga, I was about to get lost in the mist and die to some monster. Even so, if I brought Chiemi here, I could maybe give a chance for Mako to escape, and that was good enough for me. If she wasn't coming after me, it was unlikely that she'd go after Mako instead. Maybe he is working on something like this. Maybe, okay, so if he's just like, I want to die on my own terms, maybe there's that thing. But if I was him, and I know that I'm most likely going to loop again. And maybe he is doing this, but I would be like, what knowledge can I get? Like, I would have, like, interrogated Chiemi either as a person or as a wolf to try to get as much info that could maybe help me in another loop. Maybe he is doing that in his own special way. But he's also talked about, like, he's talked about the fact, and there's that phenomenon, and there's that thing in the top of his head where he's like, just because I've looped once or twice or however many times I have technically, doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to loop again, right? You're always like, oh, do I have a certain amount that I'm going to be able to loop? So maybe he's just like, oh, I'm going to at least try to escape and see what happens kind of thing. I don't know. But there is that factor, I guess. But also I'd be like, oh, I've been looping a lot. Let me just try. Chiemi would be left in the village all by herself to her own insanity. In that case, I figured I had to try running away through here at least once. I'd given up on trying to understand her insanity this time around. Next time. Yeah, I'd think about it next time. I passed the cliff and reached the mountain. The mist was even denser than usual. I looked down and noticed that a lot of the road was covered by a landslide. The earth, sand, and collapsed trees made it pretty much impossible to walk past here. I couldn't tell if it was artificial, nor did I had the knowledge to investigate and find out. Okay, sure. I just followed the path. The 10 minutes had already passed, so Chiemi must have been tailing me. Whenever I stopped, I felt I could hear the sound of rustled grass in the distance. She was chasing me. From what I could tell, she was actually following the winding mountain path. That was good for me. I wanted her to keep it up. It made this more interesting. Maybe she wasn't really trying to catch me. The distance between us wasn't closing at all. I suddenly became a bit dizzy. There was a largish tree nearby. I sat down next to it so I could catch my breath. My vision suddenly turned dim. I quickly opened my eyes, but I had a bad feeling, like I'd actually been out cold for a decent while. I tried standing up and realized that I couldn't move my limbs properly. I must have lost too much blood. The end was close. My dulled senses told me my pursuer was nearby. I tried finding the path again, but I couldn't for some reason. Apparently my sense of direction, perception, and judgment were fading too. Perhaps things would have worked out if I wasn't injured? No. This is a different realm. Though acknowledged by few, the outskirts of the village were the hunting grounds of the merciless mountain god, Great Lord Shinai. The only ones free to move in here. I couldn't wait, so I just came down. Were the madmen siding with the mountain god? This was unreasonable, unscientific, superstitious, abnormal. Why was Chiemi up the mountain? I'd always sensed her coming from below. What was that all about? Alright, now love me while I kill you. I couldn't even say a thing, but I felt like I still had a chance. I rolled down the mountain. Took a tumble. Go, go, go! Do your best! I love those crazy eyes. Brimming with the joy of the hunt, Chiemi chased after me. A part of me wanted the mountain to just collapse. My path was blocked off by the natural trees, plants, growth in general. You're so cute. My body was at its limit. Unable to tell whether my vision was turning dim or if the mist was becoming denser, I continued rolling. I used the last bits of my energy to face her. Oh, here we go. Oh my god. This is dope. Oh yeah. It's gonna fucking stab me. The wolf was coming. It was close. It would devour both my flesh and soul alike. I'd won the feast, so I hoped that the mountain god would at least save my soul. I'd gone through a load of difficult shit thus far, so it wouldn't be unfair to let me have a peaceful ending, right? Yeah, I knew full well that the world wasn't such a kind place. The upcoming death would surely be more painful and desolate than any before. After all, I knew that the one granting it to me was a girl I'd once loved. I didn't want this. I never desired an ending like this. Shit. I didn't care if it made me look like a sore loser. I wanted to go out in a way that would leave a thorn in Chiemi's heart. Fuck her! I thought a lot of meaningless things. Oh no! this hurts me. But my words escaped me. She's like, get down, Mr. President. Oh, she took it in the abdomen. Ah. Well, look at Chiami's face. She's like, ah, shit, you're a thorn. He was like, I want to leave a thorn in Chiami's side. But then Rikako's like, I will leave a thorn in her side. But my words escaped me. The wolf's fang pierced the spider instead of me. Oh, symbolic. Symbology. Symbolism. She's the spider. Well, no. She's not the spider. She doesn't have the role of the spider, but the spider family, right? But still, the symbolism is there. That's good. Protected from the wolf attack. I like that. It's good. Pierce the spider instead of me.
どうして
Why? That was all I could say, physically and mentally. Why was she alive? Why was she here? Why did she protect me? Those questions spun in my head, but only the last one found an answer. Of course she would do this. She was a descendant of the Uematsu until the very end. Her sense of duty and justice hadn't faded, even on the brink of death. She glanced at me, completely denying my assumption. That wasn't it. She was simply obeying her wretched, unwavering heart. After all, I was special to her.
ごめん
Sorry. I said another word. Sorry I couldn't stay with Mako. Sorry I couldn't protect everyone. Sorry I talked a wolf into a gamble that made it impossible for me to look you directly in the eye. That was the last word I would ever say. Even so, my eyes and ears were still active. Thus, I witnessed everything that happened.
邪魔をするな
Don't get in my way! With a maddened scream, the madwoman tried to pull the knife out, but she couldn't. It was probably snagged in her ribs, so badly that neither pushing nor pulling helped.
芹沢
Damn.
様
Serizawa-sama. Her voice was hard to make out due to all the blood leaving her mouth, but it was calm, gentle even.
あなたの汚れも私が
I shall take in your corruption.
あんたなんかに何がわかる安水の黄泉の汚れはどうやったって私を縛る
What do you know? Yomi's corruption binds me no matter what. Would I remember enough of this to think about what those words meant next time? My failing vision merged them into one, and I noticed Rikako-san's hand reach for Chiami's neck by chance. Her finger caught on something. It was something on a string. A pendant?
これは
This is...
いや見ないで
No, don't look! Chiami released the knife, snatched the object back, and held it to her chest to hide it.
芹沢様
Serizawa-sama. Her voice was dense with pain. Not only that, it was also tinged heavily with pity.
申し訳ありません
I am so sorry.
その汚れは私にも引き取れない
That is a corruption not even I can take in. I had no idea what those words meant, but... They carry the impact of a death blow for the wolf.
知ってた知ってたし知ってたもの神様
Ha 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 ha. I knew it. Ha 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 ha. I knew it. God.
殺してやるどこだどこだよ殺してやるから出てこいよ
I'll kill you. Where are you? Where? I'll kill you, so come out. Come out! With that scream, Chiami ran off somewhere. Into the mist. She probably had no clear direction. Rikako-san collapsed.
ごめんなさい春明様
I am sorry, Haruaki-sama. Trying to move in her heavy-looking robe, she tried to crawl over to me.
芹沢様も 他の皆様も守れなかった。
I could not protect Serizawa-sama or anyone else. She wasn't the only one. I thought the exact same thing. I really wanted to say that and go out with a smile, but I could barely even breathe. I used the very last of my power to collapse toward her. I then reached for her hand.
春秋様
Haruaki-sama. Her hand lay over mine. All life left our eyes as we were gradually reduced to mere objects. Even so, her dying hand somehow felt warm, and I hate to break the pace we're on right here and interrupt this moment we're having. But if we get to do a true loop again, does that mean I get to meet the convenience store worker again? My second favorite character in this game? Do I get to have another moment with the corner store girl, who I still think is somehow like she's got to have some big importance to this whole thing. It's the first person we see. I'm telling you. I don't remember if she has a name, but it's got to be her. Even so, her dying hand somehow felt warm.
いずれまた落ちる
When we...
時は
I cut her off. When we rise again. Oh, hello. Hiya papaya. Oh, I like that.
今度は素直に押します
I will be more honest. Yeah. I wanted to respond to those feelings properly. I would destroy all my chances of losing, and I would leave the mist alongside this foolish, pure, lovable woman next time. For sure. For sure. For sure, he says. Raging Loop. Raging Loop. L-O-U-P. Look at that. Key 15. You can view it in the keys list. Great. Game over. Okay, let me check out. Just because we're, for the sake of being thorough. With the union of the humans, Rikako-san's stunt, and Kaori-san's sacrifice, we finally determined who all the wolves were. But they were one step ahead of us. They brought guns to the party, and it's very unfair. Through their self-destructive attack, everyone died, the worst outcome. I have to aim to get the better of them in order to repay Rikako-san for protecting me all the way to the end. Now, also, I remember Key 15... Yeah, very, very funny timing. Key 15 wasn't actually that far away from here. I remember a Lock 15 quite not too long ago. So I think we're going to stay in the same loop. I think we're just going up. I think it's when... Is it when the love triangle thing starts happening? Before this last meeting, I think? I'm racking my brain. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to see how accurate I can be. I remember the 15. I remember seeing it in the last stream or two, so... Bad ending 19. Do I want the hint corner? No. Sorry, sheep. I don't need hints. Again, I wonder if I'm missing any good bits from the hint corner, but it is what it is. No, we're not going to Finland. Have I seen any of the hint corners? I saw the very first one. Just because someone in chat, I think when I first was offered a hint corner, was like, oh, you might as well just watch the first one just to see what it's like. But then I had asked, I was like, is it worth seeing? Like, are they, like, really, like, good? And then they were like, no, you don't really need to see them. And I was like, okay, well, then I'll just skip them. The only reason I would want to see them is less for the hints they provide, and if they were actually, like, actual good bits, like, to see, like, interesting or anything. But if they do just supply, like, a hint, then it's like, okay, well, so far, it's always been, like, I die, and I'm like, okay, well, I got a key, I'll just go back to where that number is on the chart and then go and plug it in. Like, I never actually felt like I needed a hint. You know what I mean? It's never been difficult. So I've always been like, well, I don't need, like... It's right here. Yeah, I was right about this. Yeah. Yep. Okay, cool. They are not needed, but cool. Fourth wall commentary. Some are cool, and some are literally whatever. Then second part of it is the hint. Oh. See, I didn't know. And like, at the end of the day, am I going to be upset that I missed it? Probably not. Or missed them. I trusted one person, one person's opinions. I was like, do I need to see the hint corners? And it wasn't even a matter of like time. I was like, I'll watch them if they're actually interesting. And I think at the time, again, this was weeks ago, probably at this point, but they were like, it's fine, you can just skip. But like I said, like you were asking, I watched the first one just to see what it was like, and that was way back at the beginning of the game. Let's us skip to the decision, or the thing here. Okay, so let's recall exactly. This was at the thing, right? Rikako, you are truly gentle. Couldn't understand what she meant at all. For seconds before I would ask. You heard all that, yet you did not curse me with you. Okay, so this is when she talks about. So I think this is after Chiemi has already left. I mean, if I'm remembering the timeline here. So Rikako showed up as well, and she was giving, like I said in the recap at the very start of this stream, Rikako really delved into the family history of, like, what does the bed, whatever, woman servant role mean? What did this family used to do back in the old, I would say olden times, but back, like, what was the role of the family? What exactly did they do? She's talking about, like, oh yeah, we did the things, we did the sexual things or whatever, and I tell you the story, oh no, you're not judging me. Whatever. Oh yeah, there's also this bit, I didn't talk about this, but she's like, oh man, you're such a nice guy that, like, if you had turned me away because of this, it would be easier for me to be upset that we're not going to work out together or whatever. So there's that. So 15 is open door and persuade, because we just kept the door shut, like, I think was the whole deal when they were like talking to us through the doors, because we're like, oh, it's nighttime, I gotta fucking prepare. So I guess we'll see what happens here. I don't remember exactly whether this one was cool or whatever, but watching one other than the first one is a good idea to see what they're about. Not missing anything lore-wise if you skip them, though, yeah. Okay. I mean, now that... See, and the problem is, not to be, like, neurotic brain, but, like, now I've already committed to the path of not watching them. So now I'm like, I mean... Maybe at the end of the game, I can just find a compilation or something online of all the hint corners, and I can just watch them. I assume I could find that out there. That can't be that difficult. Or at the very worst, I, like, just brute force it on my save and just, like, go to all the death routes and then watch them. That would be a little more work, but I don't know. We'll see. Doubt there will be a compilation online. You're not giving an online. Actually, you know what? I was gonna say maybe you're not giving enough credit, but it does seem like a very random thing to, like, look for. But if there's not a compilation online, then that makes me think that they're even less important to see. Well, important is such an interesting word to say, but anyway, I digress. We'll see. The main thing when I had asked at the beginning was, like, am I really, really, really missing something if I don't watch them? And I trusted the person who originally told me, so. I suddenly opened the door. Yeah, I did it. Of course I would. Oh, the flashback. I didn't want to see that ending again. Rikako-san was crying. Her voice had been clear and composed, so I'd assumed that she wasn't feeling anything. I was wrong. She was merely hiding it. You promised not to open the door.
約束をした時点では守るつもりでしたが、あなたたちが約束を盾に、僕を好き放題悪者にするからあえて破りました。
I'd intended to keep that promise, but you both used it to make me look like a bad guy, so I changed my mind.
何なんですかその、見苦しい過去設定を並び立てれば、無事嫌われて円満破局みたいな空気感は、藤吉イズムですか？
What's with this aura? Why does it feel like you're trying to be hated because of your past just to make the breakup cleaner? Is it a Fujiyoshiism or something?
ぶっちゃけ、ちえみちゃん程度の面倒さの子はいくらでも転がしてきましたから、状況がこうでなきゃ発奮するだけですし。
I've rejected tons of bothersome women like Chiemi-chan in my life, so if it weren't for this situation, I'd be going nuts right now. Now hold the fuck up. A, don't disrespect Chiemi like that in front of me. And two, nope, B, I can't go A and 2. And B, fuck off. How obnoxious is this guy? This guy's like, oh man, I've had women throwing themselves at me all the time. Oh my, fuck off with this guy. God, my hate for him just grows with every passing stream of this game. And I can't, it's irrational, but I hate him.
リカ子さんみたいなレアキャラは超絶美味しいとしか思えない程度には人間腐ってるんで諦めてほしいですね。
His demeanor. I'm just about degenerate enough to decide someone like you is too rare to let go, so you should cut it out. Question mark? Crap. I overdid it a bit.
まあその、あなたがどう思うかは知りませんが、僕は今の話であなたをより信頼しましたし、好きになりました。
Well, I have no idea what you're thinking, but hearing all that just made me value you more. Huh? Huh?
ちえみちゃんにもそう言ってあげたいところですが、それはあなたへの定説に戻りますから、別の手を打ちましょう。
I'd have loved to say that to Chiemi-chan too, but that'd make me a cheater, so I'll do something else instead. Hey, sometimes I gotta like the crazy ones, you know? If you're not into the slightly crazy people, like, you need that crazy for that spice in life, you know what I mean? When she looked me in the eyes with blood all over her, and she'd killed some people, she took out Mochi. She took out Mochi because she specifically wanted to kill me. I felt that, you know?
明日謎理論でしっかり丸め込んで僕の友人を紹介しましょう。僕より少し頭が腐った変態野郎ですが気は合いそう。
I'll win her over with some weird as hell reasoning and introduce her to a friend of mine. He's a bit more degenerate than I, but I think they'll get along. Chim is your favorite character. Yeah, see? We're on the same page. We're on the same wavelength here. Fellow Chimmy enjoyer.
もしちえみちゃんがちょいピザ丸ハゲでも気にしないなら超絶尽くす彼の方が。
Wait, maybe Teach would be better for her. If Chiemi-chan doesn't mind slightly ugly baldies. Sorry, that caught me off guard. Slightly ugly baldies. She'd have someone really loyal and... Can we be serious for a moment? Haruaki? Haruaki-sama, I do not think I understand, but why would you tell me that you like me? Now, of all times.
言ったでしょ。僕はルールは自分で決めたいんですよ。
Like I said, I want to play this game by my own rules.
感情だって他人にルールされたくないですから。みんなが嫌いなものでもその気になれば喜んでいただきますとも。
I don't want someone else telling me how I should feel. Even if everyone else hates something, I'll happily take it.
だから僕に嫌われたければ方法を改めてください。あなたから好きだって言ったんですからね。覚悟はしてもらいましょ
う。If you want me to hate you, find a better way to go about it. You're the one who said that you love me, so you better take responsibility for that.
バーカ。リカ子さんのアホ。
You dumb idiot. Rikaka-san's a moron.
死んでる？
I think this is what pickup artists call negging. This is the old tactic of negging, which I haven't thought of that word in forever. You alive? Dump. Ah, she finally broke.
何ですかいきなり
Oh, I cut her off. What was that about? Are you a fool?
いや全く何なんでしょうね。
Yeah, seriously, what's that about?
こっちが聞いてます
That's my line. Anyway, enough with the personal grudges.
賭けはまだ有効ってことにしませんか？
Can we consider the bet still on? Oh, the one where we'd win if we survived and could ask the other for whatever we wanted.
生き残った時好きなように望めばいいんですから。
Alright, you have a good one.
そ
Thanks
れ
for
を
stopping
打ち消すよ
by.
うな望みは言わないですよ。
If we survive, we can ask for whatever we want, and I'm not planning on asking for anything that would ruin it. Oh boy.
あなたは
Oh boy, Haruaki.
不思議な人です
You are such a strange person.
多分きっと芹沢様の言う通りとても悪い方なのでしょ
Serizawa-sama was surely right to call you a bad boy. I didn't confirm nor deny that. Oh my god.
うそれでもそう言っていただけて嬉しかったそれだけで私はもう十分です
Even so, hearing that from you makes me happy enough. I am satisfied. Not good enough? Well, maybe. Adult love wasn't solid enough to play out through just jokes and improvisation. Then again, we adults could survive without needing anything fancy. It was a virtue as well as a vice.
明日生き残った時答えをください。
Please give me your answer when you survive tomorrow.
あなたは今晩狼に殺されるかもしれない。僕とメイコを守るために自ら正体を明かす賭けをしたから。
You might be killed by the wolves tonight. You took a gamble and revealed yourself to protect Meiko and I.
もしあなたが明日目覚めてこなかったら
If you don't wake up tomorrow,
僕は結局あなたにこんなことを望む資格なんてなかったと引き下がります。
it would mean that I wasn't worthy of asking you something like this. I'll back off if that happens.
春明様
Haruaki-sama. There. I was now at a key point. This tragedy, drunk heroine, wouldn't die today. It would be the most unfortunate Kaori-san. Honestly, I wasn't sure how to feel about that. But I would test it this once.
せめて最後にお慈悲をいただけないでしょうか
At the very least, can you grant me one final gift?
ダメです。僕はそれだけを生きがいにこの夜を越えるんですから。
No. I will survive the night with that as my goal in life.
不謹慎ですが嬉しいです
It might be imprudent of me, but it makes me happy. I was the imprudent one here. After all, I was making moves on a girl that could die tonight.
それではさようなら
Anyway, goodbye.
待った。
Wait.
まだ何か
Anything else? I could finally get to the main matter at hand.
野蛮としての植松里香子さんに一つ協力してほしいことがあります。
There's something I'd like to ask you, as a night watcher. Gong. It was the day after I did the prep work. I approached the plaza, met up with Yoshisuke-kun, acted surprised when I heard the bad news. Got a feigned surprise, and once again saw the remains of poor, unfortunate Kaori-san. I then listened to the brothers opening up, saw them find the letter, noticed that the fingers were placed in the same position as last time. This had to be Chiemi's idea. In this particular timeline, she didn't seem to be anything more than a bloodthirsty madwoman. I felt like she'd been the one who decided that destroying the entire body was the way to go, and Mochi didn't hesitate to agree. I'd badly underestimated just how warped that boy's personality was. Poor Mamiya-san. I knew she was an enemy, but I couldn't help but feel sympathy for her. Thus began the feast of the Yomi Purge. Yasunagi-kun presented the scenario set up by the wolves. I turned it around. Everything was about the same as last time. If I didn't change my words, things would go exactly the same way as last time. Of course they would. The people I was talking to were the exact same. Strangely enough, I also said the exact same things without relying much on memories from last time. Or maybe it wasn't that strange. After all, though I had memories of the previous loop, I was the exact same person. If I had somehow lost the memories of the final moments of the loop, I'd definitely be heading for the same ending right now. But in this case, it didn't matter if everything was the same this time. I could just go with the flow and do the same thing as last time. After all, it was already over.
そういう賭けだったんじゃないですかね。残念ながら負けですが。
That's what they were betting on, I assume. Unfortunately for them, it didn't work. Just like last time, everyone focused on Chikamochi, who had a half smile on his face.
やっぱそれ一方的じゃないかな。ハッサンやリッちゃんが本物だってのも決まってないわけだしさ。
That seems really one-sided. I mean, we have no proof that Asana and Richan are what they claim to be. And just like last time, he was bringing up arguments that had already been shot down.
それに香りママの指だってまだああやって読むのが正しいのかも。
And maybe you can actually read Mommy Kaori's fingers some other way.
Mochi.
Mochi. And just like last time, Chiemi.
もういいよ。
That's enough.
苦しいよ。さすがに。
It's getting cringeworthy.
じゃあ
Then,
うん。
yeah. Yeah, this again. Let's kill them all. They went and did it. They drew the guns from their sleeves. I'd been wondering why Mochi was in his school uniform this time, and this made me realize it was to hide the gun. Ah. The barrels and grips on them both were cut really short, probably for the same purpose. One of them was aimed in our direction, while the other was aimed at Kanzo-san, who was already charging at them. Their intense change paralyzed everyone except him and Takumi-san, who would now make a move and die to the shotgun blast. However, that didn't happen this time. The guns didn't fire anything. Oh! Did they, like, fuck with the guns beforehand? It's as simple as that? Just like, oh, we get to redo it. It's like actual Groundhog Day. I'm just going to change, take out the ammo or something. I don't know. We'll see. A moment after Chiemi's expression warped with shock, Kanzo-san punched Mochi, while Takumi-san tackled Chiemi. Her lightweight body was thrown backwards and hit the wall. Takumi-san quickly grabbed the shotgun, aimed it at the floor, and pulled the trigger to ignite the shell in the other chamber. Once again, the gun didn't fire. He frowned, then opened it up, removed the cartridges, and threw them away along with the gun. Kanzo-san handled his situation a different way. He simply pointed Mochi's gun back at its former master. So you're a wolf! The face of a wolf. His face swollen due to the punch, he was crouching down and glaring at Kanzo-san. Bring the rope! Shit. Let me go, why? Damn it! Takumi-san took advantage of her staggering and pushed her down. She couldn't move at all. Things became a bit disorderly as we tied them up, but now it was relatively calm in here. What the hell was that about? Those words weren't directed at anyone, but everyone besides me related to him. These are dummies. Kanzo-san said that while looking at the shells from the shotgun he'd taken from Mochi. Everyone understood what that meant. You got the wrong ones? No way! Exactly. There was no way the cartridges she checked just yesterday were switched up in a single evening. Unless... The only one with any idea what was responsible for this paranormal phenomenon was Rikako-san. Last night, I'd asked her to catch Chiemi and have a cat fight with her. That gave me the time I needed to go into Chiemi's room and mess with her equipment. A lot of it depended on luck, and I needed a couple loops, but I somehow pulled it off. It wasn't fair in the least, but my life was at risk here, and I actually died, so I didn't really care. Everyone continued to talk about how the shells were replaced, but since I decided to stay quiet, they didn't reach a conclusion. Now, everyone was left with their harsh truth that these two were wolves, who just tried to kill everyone here. Thus, everyone began talking about how to handle them. Yasunaga-kun suggested we tie them up and lock them in somewhere. He argued that now that we knew they were the wolves, all we had to do to prevent any further murders was make them unable to move. Kanzo-san was thoroughly against that, suggesting that we instead hang them over today and tomorrow. When asked for his reasoning, he insisted that wolves had to be hanged and their argument wasn't going anywhere. Most of Kanzo-san's decisions were influenced by the legend and his own experience, so he didn't have a proper way to deal with the situation that's unorthodox. Yasunaga-kun, on the other hand, was bound by conscience and emotions, making Kanzo-san's option unacceptable for him. I left me no choice but to weigh in. May I say something? Now, everyone, even Kanzo-san, lended an ear to my words. It took too long for me to get to this point.
牧島さんとしては、とにかく一日一冊のペースを守ることが大事だと思っておいでなんですよね。
Makishima-san, you believe it's important to kill only one per day and not any more, right?
一方で安永君は正直、ちえみちゃんやモッチーを殺したくない。
Well, Yasunaga-kun just doesn't want to kill them at all.
そうですね。認めます。ただ、怪奇現象の範囲外で犯人が見つかった以上、法的な解決を目指すべきだと思うわけです。
Yes, I admit it. Now that the culprits are no longer a supernatural phenomenon, I believe we should leave their judgment to the rule of law.
彼らがやったことは許されることじゃないけど、それを僕らが裁いていいわけじゃない。これまではあくまで緊急避難。
What they did is unforgivable, but we shouldn't be the ones to punish them. We only did the previous hangings because it was an emergency and we had no other choice.
彼らが身動き取れなければ危険はないのだから、そのようにして、あとは霧が晴れるのを待つ。
Since they aren't a threat to us when bound, we could just leave them like that and wait for the mist to clear.
晴れなければ、そこで改めて再度の緊急避難が必要という判断を下せばいいんです。
And if it doesn't, we'll be left with no choice but to consider another emergency that requires drastic measures. The boy was talking sense, but...
まず、お二人とも拘束が有効という点に少々認識の問題があると思います。
First, I'm not so sure if binding them would be effective.
というと
What do you mean?
このゲームの支配者、神内明神は玄関の錠前を解除できます。
Sorry, I was drinking water. The game master here, Great Lord Shinai, can unlock our front doors.
とすれば、どんな拘束も解除できると考えるのが妥当じゃないでしょうか。
Isn't it natural to think he can undo any bindings too?
それは
That's...
そして、今日と明日に分けてくくる場合、今夜一人分、死人が出ます。
Also, if we only hang one each day, one human would die tonight.
狼に勝ち目はありませんが、きっと殺すでしょう。
They have no chance of winning, but they'd take this kill.
そんなことはしないよ。
No, we wouldn't.
そうだね。無駄だし。
Yeah, it's pointless. They were so easy to read.
僕は、彼らは殺すと断言しますが、その根拠はね、安永君。
Yasunaga-kun, do you want to know why I'm so certain that they would kill?
はい。聞きましょう。
Yes, do tell.
彼らが、とても冷酷な狼だからだ。
It's because these wolves are extremely cruel. I walked up to them.
間宮久子さんのことを思い出してください。彼女は2日目に突然蛇を名乗り、冷静でない様子で振る舞いましたね。
Remember Hisako Mamiya-san? She suddenly claimed to be the snake on the second day and began acting all strange.
それはきっと、芹沢千恵美の指示です。
She was probably ordered to do it by Chiemi Serizawa. There was some noise in the room. Chiemi was still hanging her head.
おそらく、蛇を名乗れば安全だ、などと言いくるめたのでしょう。
She probably told Mamiya-san that being a snake was safe.
肝臓さんが、蛇の候補もくくるべきだと発言するだろうことも、承知の上でね。
Even though she knew that Kanzo-san was ready to hang anyone claiming to be the snake.
事実それで、 タエさんという無実の犠牲者を作ることに成功している。そうだね、チェミちゃん。
And it actually led to Tai-san, an innocent, getting hanged. You planned that, didn't you?
勝手に思ってれば。
Does it matter?
そしてその夜、間宮さんは不可解な死を遂げるわけですが、それもきっとこいつの仕業です。
Mamiya-san then died that night. That was probably her doing too.
なんで
Why would you think that?
そりゃ、彼女がよそ者だからだよ。信頼できないし、いざという時裏切る可能性が高い。
Because she's an outsider. She couldn't trust her. It was possible that she'd readily betrayed her.
具体的に言えば、彼女は翌朝くくられる公算がかなり高かった。肝臓さんがそう主張していましたからね。
It was highly likely that she would have been hanged the next day. Kanzo-san was pushing for it after all.
同意のないままにおとりをやらされた間宮さんは、相当な不信感と恐怖感をこの二人に対して持っていたでしょうね。
These two tricked Mamiya-san into being a scapegoat, so she probably didn't trust them and was afraid of them.
そんな彼女ならば、くくられるに際して、他の狼の正体をばらして、道連れにしてもおかしくはない。
It was completely possible that she'd reveal who the other wolves were during her hanging.
そう考えたから、夜のうちに彼女を殺して口封じをしたんだ。
That's why you killed her at night. You basically silenced her.
しかし、それじゃあ一晩に一人以上殺してることになる。
But that would mean that they killed two in one night.
ならないね。彼女は汚れを受けて殺されたんだ。狼にも何らかのルールがあって、彼女はそれに違反した。
No, she was subjected to the corruption. The wolves must have rules too, and she went against them.
いや、違反させられた。この二人によって。
Or rather, was made to go against them by these two.
全部推測じゃん。
You're just guessing.
もう何でもいいよ。
Whatever.
だから否定してくれって言ってるだろ二人とも。
Please deny it, damn it.
面倒だから言うわ。うん、全部そう。春明さんすごいすごい。ヤス君は思ったより脳みそ幸せな人だったんだね。
It's a pain, so I'll just say it. Yeah, he's completely right. Wow, Haruaki-san, you're so cool. And Yasukun's even more soft-brained than I thought. Damn. Shieni.
まあ私らにも色々あって、最後まであがかないといけないことになってるからさ。もう質問とかやめてよ、面倒。
We had our reasons for doing what we did, and we had to keep it going until the end. So stop it with the questions, they're a pain. Chiemi, you damn...
やめてください。気持ちはわかりますが、時間の無駄です。
Please stop. I understand how you feel, but that'd be a waste of time.
狼をやった人間とは、もう、分かり合うことはできないんですよ。
You can't reach an understanding with those who become wolves.
じゃが、どうする?
So what are we doing with them?
というわけで、僕の提案ですが、片方は手足を切断し、片方はくくりましょ
う。My suggestion is that we cut off one's limbs and hang the other one.
そうすれば今夜、拘束がなくても出歩けないでしょうから、安全そうです。
Jesus. If we do that, the one without limbs won't be able to go around even if unbound, so he'd probably be safe.
それでもう一人を明日くくれば、狼は全滅。きっと翌日には霧も晴れ。
And if we hang the one tomorrow, the wolves would be exterminated. The mist should clear by the day after and...
おい、夫妻氏。
Fusaishi.
はい
Yes?
お前、今なんつった?
What did you just say?
ですから、拘束がなくても出歩けないし、凶器も持てないように、手足を切断するのがいいでしょうと。
I'm saying we should keep one from walking around and using weapons by cutting off their limbs. Huh? What the hell is with their reaction?
何か問題がありましたか?
Is there a problem with that?
お前、本気で近持ちかちえみの手足をもぐって言ってんのか?
You seriously saying we should cut off Chikamochi's or Chiemi's limbs?
はい。それじゃあ不足ですかね。大腿部と肩で切ってしまえば、さすがに這って移動もできないかと。
Huh? Yes. Wouldn't that be enough? If we removed them at the base, they couldn't even crawl, right?
てめえ、やっぱイカれてるよ。
You really are a fucking lunatic. Huh?
それは残酷すぎますよ。
That is way too cruel. Huh?
相手が狼とはいえ、それはそこまでは。
Alright, the wolves kill with reckless abandon, and then I just suggest that we maybe take off their limbs so that they're immobile and can't really do anything to us, and I'm the weird one? Okay. I'm the cruel person? We've got confirmed killers? He's like, I don't understand. How can they look at me so weird? I suggest one rational thing, and now everyone thinks I'm the weirdo. Rikako says, I understand. They are wolves, but that is a step too far. What?
ふさゆきさん、怖い。
Fusayuki-san, you're scary. Why?
リカコさん、狼の獅子を切断することは汚れの対象ですか？
Rikako-san, would cutting off their limbs make us targets of the corruption?
それは聞きませんが。
I have not heard of anything that implies that.
皆さん、これまでに歴史と伝統にのっとって生きてる人間を縄にかけて処刑してきましたよね。
Excuse me, but aren't you the ones who hanged a couple of people just because of history and legends?
ですが、しかし。
But we
くくって楽にしてやっておる。
put him to rest.
考察はかなり苦しみの強い残酷な処刑方法だって説もありますよ。
I've heard that hanging is actually a really painful way to go.
そうでなくても、多数決で人を処刑するなんて、やられる側からすれば、この上ない絶望と恐怖だと思いますし。
Even if it wasn't, they were being lynched because of a popular vote. That alone must have been utterly terrifying.
それに、狼は、あんな残酷な殺し方をしてるのに。
The wolves murdered so cruelly, yet you're all acting like this.
皆さんは、随分、良識的なんですね。いや、それはいいことなのかな。人間らしさ？ああ、なるほど。
You're all pretty good-natured, aren't you? Wait, that's a good thing, isn't it? Humane? Oh, I see. They all fell silent. But even I could understand that there was something within them that made them averse to my idea.
じゃあ、四肢を骨折させましょうか。粉砕骨折させれば効果は一緒ですから。
Can we break their limbs instead? The effect would be the same, right?
あるいは明日くらいにちょうど死ぬ程度に野里先生に毒を処方してもらうとか。
Or perhaps Nosada-sensei could poison them in a way that would make them die right about tomorrow?
いい加減にしたまえ。そんな乱雑な処置で命の保証はできん。痛みのショックで死ぬこともあるぞ。
Stop it! I can't ensure that they would survive that. The shock from the pain alone might kill them.
それに医者の端くれとして毒など処方できるか。
Well, this is a predicament we've got ourselves into.
狼とは違うのだよ。
And I happen to be a doctor. I cannot poison. We're not like the wolves.
なるほど。なるほど。わかりました。ちょっといろいろ誤解してたみたいです。
I see. I understand. I seem to have misunderstood you all.
じゃあ、どうしましょうね。今日誰かが死んじゃいますね。
What now, though? I guess someone's dying today. This was such a pain. Why did they argue against my suggestion if they had none of their own?
どうしても必要なら私がすべきことをします。
If it must be done, I shall take it upon myself.
いや、わしがやる。
No, I'll do it.
じじいと女が無理してんじゃねえ。
Don't push yourselves.
僕らはそんなことしちゃいけない。
We mustn't do that.
ああ、やめろ。まだ考える時間はある。
Stop it, you all. We can still think this through.
わかった。もういい。
It's fine. That's enough.
私、今から死ぬからさ。その前に、モッチくくれば。
I'll die myself. Can you hang Mochi first?
それで誰も、汚れはなしでしょ。
No one should get the corruption then.
わお、 最後まで冴えてんね。
Wow, clear-headed until the end, huh?
え、今度は何を企んでるの？
Huh? What are you planning now?
手足をもがれるのは嫌だよ。
I don't want to get my limbs cut off. Even wolves are afraid of some things, huh? Oh,
そんじゃま、
okay.
あっちでハルちゃんには謝っとくよ。
So strange. I was about to suggest, hey, why don't we pit the two against each other and just be like, hey, one of you wolves has to kill the other wolf right now, and then we'll hang the one who doesn't. I don't know if one of them would be compelled to be like, yeah, I don't want to die by the hand of another wolf, and yeah, it's whatever. Alright, I think this feels like Chiami's got something planned, though, doesn't it? She's like, hang Chikamochi first. There's some master plan maybe going on, I don't know. Alright, I'll apologize to Haru-chan when I get to her.
お前はハルちゃんと同じところ
Damn.
には行けないよ。
You're not going to the same place as her. Well, there you go. Fuck you, Chikamochi. You're going to hell.
どっかな、りっちゃん。
Hmm? I'm not? Ri-chan?
くくった方は救われる。狼に殺されれば救われない。
The hanged are saved. The ones killed by wolves are not.
逆にする？もっち。
Wanna switch?
どっちでもいいよ。
I don't care enough.
いい。どうせ死んだら終わりだ。
It's fine. Regardless of the way, it'll be over once you die.
それなら僕がお前を殺す。
So I'll take it upon myself to kill you.
どうしてこんな。
Why did this have to happen?
どうしても？
Just because?
なんだよそれ。
What's that supposed to mean?
よくはわかんないんだけどね。
I don't really get it.
なんとなくどうしようもなかった気がするんだよね。
But I felt like we had no choice. Yasunaga Uribe punched Chikamochi Kamoshida.
ごめんね、ヤッスン。
Sorry, Yasun.
それだけは本当だ。
I really am.
ごめんね。
Sorry.
落ちなかれ。
Rise not. Ha ha. Yasunaga-kun pushed him forward. A moment later, the rope went taut. It shook for a moment, then slowly swayed back and forth, and finally stopped completely. Yasunaga-kun cut the rope. From the mists below, I heard the sound of something soft collapsing, then hitting the shallow water below.
次だ。ちえみ。
You're next, Chiemi.
はいはい。
Alrighty.
これでは間接的に我々が殺しているようなものではないかね。
Isn't this the same as directly killing her?
さあ、新内さんとやらが判断するんじゃないですか？
Who knows? Shinai-san or whatever will be the judge of that, right?
おい、そうやってそのまま死ぬつもりか、ちえみ。一言も謝りもしねえでよ。
You're gonna die just like that? Without even saying sorry or anything?
うん。だってそういうやつだし、私。
Yeah, that's the kind of girl I am, right?
みんな知ってたでしょ？私が上藤吉の悪ガキどもを殺しかけた時にそういう人間だってさ。
I mean, you knew that from the time I almost killed the brats in Kami Fujiyoshi, didn't you?
まあその後できるだけ良い子のふりしてたけどさ、まんまと騙されてお疲れ。
Well, I went on to act like a good girl after that. Fooled you good, didn't I? How's it feel?
モッチーはああいう性格なのを私が操縦していろいろやってもらった感があるし、怒んないであげて。
I knew what kind of guy Mochi was and kinda used it to control him. Don't get mad at him, okay?
私が全部悪いで問題ないよ。
It's all my
だから好
fault.
きに憎んで、みんな。
It's all my fault. Hate me all you want. Looking backwards, she stepped up to the cliff.
リカコさんおめでとう。障害を乗り越えて無事なんとかなりそうじゃん。
Congrats, Rikako-san. The obstacle's out of the way and it looks like it'll all work out, doesn't it?
読み意味の宴はそういうものではありません。
That is not what the Feast of the Yomi Purge is about.
山と共に 生きる我らが追った業未来永劫背負い供養し続ける。
We, who live with the mountain, have been given a burden, and we must bear and pay respects for it for all eternity, or to it for all eternity.
私はその業を引き取るだけ。
I am here to simply take in that burden.
じゃあまた生まれ変わったら今度こそ殺しに行くから。
Then, if I'm born again, I'll come kill you directly this time.
雲の末裔だかなんだか知らないけど、ご大層な教えを語り継ぐための子孫でも作って待ってれば。
You're the last of the spiders, aren't you? Go have some descendants, teach them whatever grand nonsense they taught you, and wait for me to come get you.
そのように悪ぶらずとも。
There is no need to be like that.
サイナ、今から殺すぞ。
Shut up. I'll kill you now.
嘘嘘。じゃあね。
Joking. See you.
ちえみ、
Jimmy.
何？
What?
神様って何？
What is God? Her pupils instantly shrunk.
やっぱり
I knew it.
やっぱり一番怖いのはあなただよ、春明さん。
You really are the scariest thing here, Haruaki-san.
よかった。ありがとう。みんなありがとう。自殺させてくれて。
Ha ha ha. Ah, ha, ha, ha. I'm so glad. Thank you. Thank you all so much for letting me kill myself. She took 3 steps back.
手足もがれるかもって思った時、本当、心底怖かったよ。本当に怖かったよ。
You have no idea how scared I was when I thought my limbs were gonna get cut off. Seriously.
春明さん、
Haruaki-san?
一緒に狼だったらよかったのに。
If only we were wolves together.
僕はごめんだよ。
I don't want that. Laugh, 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 laugh.
またね。
See ya! She turned around and ran, as fast as possible, into the mist, and jumped. Rise not.
帰ってますね。
I'm going. I alone turned around. Huh?
まだお前
But you still haven't... I didn't want to hear it. She'd probably fallen into a world different from ours, and I got the impression I wouldn't hear a sound. I didn't want to listen to the echoing silence. We then went on to clean up Kaori-san's body. After spacing out a bit, we all cut up some veggies and ate them uncooked. It was hard to make a fire in the mist, and as people of Fujiyoshi, no one felt like using fires other than the one in the watering hole. And everyone was averse to using the dining hall. Thus, everyone went to sleep. No. For the first time since the feast began, none of us could sleep. Morning came without us getting any rest. And the mist was gone. Hey! And game over! Credits roll! Dun 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 ba bum ba ba. You win! Ba da ba ba. Everyone's happy. Bum bum ba da. No one had died, of course. Everything was as the legend said. God, I don't remember how green this place used to be. We've been so we've been stuck in, like, the mist forever, that now seeing all the lush green, I'm like, whoa! With the Yomatsu Okami gone, peace came back to the human village. However, it was hard to celebrate it. Now, yeah, this is interesting, because does he force another loop somehow and be like, this wasn't a good enough outcome for me? And, like, does he have, like, lingering regrets that Chiemi died? Does he go, like, no, I want to keep Chiemi around? Do I want to keep more of these, like, we're listing people here that I'm about to read, but, like, is there a way to save literally everyone? Is he going for, like, a perfect game? Is just outing the wolves going to be enough for him? Maybe not. Yudai Hashimoto, Tai Yamawaki, Hisako Mamiya, Haru Makishima, the old man who cried wolf, Kaori Oribe, Chikamochi Kamoshida, and Chiemi Serizawa. A whole 8 people died. Even if 2 of them were outsiders, the settlement had suffered great losses. Everyone had an aversion to using fire to dispose of any remaining objects that carried signs of murder, so it was decided that they would be buried. The tatami, the floorboards, the futon, all of it. We also ended up making new gravestones for those we had lost. Rikako-san had told us that the graveyard near the Hanging Pine was full of the feast's victims, so there was nothing under the stones.
それじゃあ、今はお亡くなりに?
So, has he passed away or something?
はい。大往生でした。
Yes, it was a peaceful death. Those who died normally would be burned at the crematorium in Kamifujiyoshi, run by the Higuchi, then buried here. Those who didn't would be thrown into Saranaga and simply vanish. Making sure no one saw me, I went down to Saranaga. There was nothing. No corpses or belongings. Just like last time, Saranaga was just a thin, shallow stream. However, I did find one thing. It was a pendant with the Yomatsu Okami symbol on it. What was this? Was someone wearing it? What did it mean for someone in Fujiyoshi to wear something like this? At this point, I didn't feel like investigating it anymore. Was that strange? No. I felt that was just how things were. Days passed for us working on this and that. We somehow survived thanks to the food from the fields, and right as we were finishing up our work, help finally arrived. Kamifujiyoshi sent some people to remove the landslide blocking the road, and now they'd finally made it. Are you all well? Yeah, more peachy keen. Alright? It'd been a while since I saw Shoji Higuchi. He looked as friendly as always. Shoji, what took you so long?
我々としても作業は進めたかったんだが、どうにも不可解な事故が多発してね。霧が晴れてからようやく進めたのさ。
We wanted to work faster, but we had some unexplainable accidents while trying. We were only able to make progress after the mist cleared.
それで、皆さんご無事で?
So, is everyone alright? No one answered. Higuchi began looking sympathetic and started giving some orders to his people. Eventually, we were brought to Kamifujiyoshi and were made to spend a few days like refugees in some community center. Apparently, this was temporary. The village head said they needed time to clean up Yasumizu after the disaster. I really appreciated the 3 daily meals they gave us from the nearby watering hole, and sleeping in a place without any mist at all was pleasant. The food was strangely fancy, and the people bringing it seemed somewhat humble. They'd always looked down on the people Yasumizu, but now that we'd stopped the Yomi invasion, they actually revered us. That was just a guess, though, and I was still locked up in here with nothing to do. One day, I actually got to see the officer. It actually felt kind of nostalgic at this point.
Oh, 生きとったか。何よりだ。これ、お前のだろ。邪魔くさいからとっとと引き取らんか。
Oh, you're alive. That's great. This is yours, right? It's no use to us, so take it back already. My bike. The weeks of exposure to the elements had left it looking really shabby. I had nothing better to do, so I decided to clean it.
そろそろ復旧も終わりますから、皆さん休みずに戻っていただけます。
We are almost done restoring Yasumizu, so you'll be able to return soon.
夫妻さんも、それで気分転換に遠出でもされたらいかがです？
Fusashi-san, why not drive far away for a change of pace? I actually wanted to return to Yasumizu, though. What is this music? When I told Takumi-san that I'd take Meiko to the police once everything was settled and then return, he told me that I didn't have to. Rikako-san said she'd help him work the fields, and he'd appreciated it. Kanzo-san fixed his rifle and began hunting again. Yasunaga-kun resumed going to school. Yoshisuga-kun moved to the dorm and said he'd start going to school again too, joining his brother. Kinosuke would, as planned, become a part-time doctor at Kamifujiyoshi's clinic. When Kanzo-san returned from our shelter, Kinosuke actually looked after him like a proper doctor, which was some impressive character development. Okay, I had to reread that in my head. Anyway, since it all seemed to be fine here, Takumi-san told me that I didn't have to return. Don't make me return. Well, can't say I don't have stuff for you to do.
これっきり戻ってこなくてもまあ仕方ねえと思ってる。
But you have a place to return to, right? Really wouldn't blame you if you didn't come back.
ただ
But
お前を待ってる女がいいんだからな。
keep in mind that you have a woman waiting for you here.
それと一緒に延々畑作ってんのもバカらしいぜ、オラよ。
And honestly, I'm not sure I want to do nothing but farm with her. Wait, let me see that line again. Let me see that. And honestly, I'm not sure I want to do nothing but farm with her. Okay, thanks for telling me that, Muro.
すぐ帰ってきます。いろいろ片付けたらすぐに。
I'll be right back after I'm done with some business. I did consider returning to the life I had, but I figured I should stay here instead. That would be a tough decision for me to make. I don't know. I could see the positives and negatives of being like, okay, I've had it with this place, and also this place was bad, and I gotta leave and live a normal life and get me out of here before something like this happens again, because a feast thing could happen again, right? Maybe much more down the line, but I don't want to be a participant in that. But also, he's like, oh man, it's simple here. My past life, I was in a relationship that ended. Bad blood there. Rikako is here. Maybe he's like, that's a good enough reason to stay. I don't know. I did consider returning to life I had, but I figured I should stay here instead.
まあ達者にな。
Also, I gotta say, and I know this is just an opinion, or this could be subjective, but like, if I was in his shoes, like literally like transport me into him, a big reason to stay or whatever would be based on like who's still left in the village. And I gotta say, all the cool people died. Chiemi, Mochi, hell, old guy who cries wolf, Mamiya, the big reporter guy. I know they were outsiders and they probably wouldn't be staying here, but still, like, Haru, even, I'd say the cooler people died or left, and then you're left with a bunch of bums. Nasato, Kiyonosuke guy, this guy, Kanzo, bleh. You don't even get Kaori, she's gone. Truly the bums of the village, and I don't mean bums as in like they don't work, but bums as in socially, right? It's not a fun party of people left, in my opinion. The two brothers. Psh. Psh. To that I make that sound effect. Psh. Well, I guess I'll see you then. Your turn. She was hiding behind that tree. With her pale skin turning rosy, she meekly walked up to me.
Meiko, その達者に。
Meiko, stay in good health. Hey, what about me?
お姉ちゃん、違うでしょ。ふさゆきさんでしょ。
One-chan, you're supposed to talk to Fusayuki-san. Fusayuki-san, I'm saying that correctly. Sure, even she understood it. How precocious of her.
Haruaki-sama, どうかお元気で。
Haruaki-sama, please, stay in good health. I'd assume that the fact she wasn't treating this like our final meeting was a step forward, but no, I wouldn't let it fly. I hadn't survived just to say goodbye to you. Oh, please.
そんな薄っぺらな言葉じゃ許せないな。
This guy. Those words aren't enough for me. We gotta embrace right here, right now, in front of everyone. In front of all these trees. We gotta make out. We gotta solidify our relationship. Chiemi's spirit be damned.
たまには遊びに来てください。
Please, come visit every now and then. She sure was persistent.
そういうのを往生際が悪いって言うんですよ、 リカコさん。
You're being a sore loser right now, Rikako-san.
名前だって呼び合えるようになったんです。
We're close enough to call each other by name.
もう一歩素直になってくれたら。
If you take just one more step forward.
僕はとても嬉しくなって一つ大きな決断をできそうだ。
I might decide to do something big. Big. There were a lot of things I wanted to give to her and take from her. Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean by what do you mean by those words? Why? Why's he gotta be so fucking weird sometimes with his inner monologue? All right, let me try to say this with a straight face. Yeah, we're having a touching moment here. There were a lot of things I wanted to give to her and take from her. Blech. I was sure I'd find happiness if we made proper exchanges. After all, that was the sole light I'd ever seen in that dreadful mist. I wouldn't give up on it no matter what.
Haruaki-sama.
Jesus. Okay. Haruaki-sama.
なんでしょう。
Yes?
寂しいですから。
Because I would be lonely. Yes, you'd been lonely your whole life.
好きですから。
Because I love you. Yes, you weren't even allowed to love anyone.
五章ですから。
And because this is all new to me. Yes, for the first time ever you sought your own happiness.
戻ってきてください。
Please come back to me. I couldn't control myself. Oh my god, a horn dog. Whoa, showing off, huh? Kissy! I let her go, and she looked up at me with angry eyes. She'd become a lot more expressive, and I found it nothing if not lovable. I would live out the rest of my life with her. This journey brought me to something unexpected and led to a really happy ending.
約束します。
I promise.
全部向こうのことは片付けて今度こそここに戻ってきます。
Once I deal with everything outside, I will come back here. Please do.
その時は僕が大事なことを言う番だ。
Then it'll be my turn to say something. I understand.
信じて待っております。
I shall believe and wait for you. Borrowing the Higuchi's help, I got everything I needed, secured Mako behind me with a children's belt, and left Fujiyoshi. Upon arriving at the closest city, I presented her as a lost child. They asked me questions, of course. I admitted some things, but didn't lie at all. They thought I seemed shady, but I was able to prove my identity, and they let me off.
Bye-bye, Fusayuki-san.
Bye-bye, Fusayuki. Why am I having trouble saying this? Fusayuki-san? I don't know why I'm stumbling on that now. She waved, all smiles. She still couldn't get my name right. This reminded me that nothing that happened in Yasumizu had drawn police attention. I had no idea who done or didn't do what to make it turn out like that, but I didn't care anymore. It was just the way it was. What was up with the looping business anyway? Yeah, what was up with that looping? That's so weird. Was killing the wolves a condition for ending the loop? If that was the case, then it was caused by something that wanted the wolves to lose no matter what. No other explanation fit. Who would that be, though? Great Lord Shinai? That fit the story, but it often seemed like he didn't have a horse in this race. Also, if his only way to help the humans was to give out the Guardians and send me, then he was a seriously bothersome god. Would I go back in time if I died now? I didn't even care to try, not to mention that situations in which you could easily die were the abnormal ones. Also, I'd actually left the village this time. That made the current situation different than any so far, and it was best to assume I wouldn't loop again. Yeah, you can't test that at this point. Way too risky. That was probably just the way it was. I stayed in that city for a while and contacted certain people, telling them that I would now be a farmer in a remote village. That got me in some serious trouble, but Yasumizu got no service anyway, so it wasn't like they could do anything about it. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Come and get me? Find me? Psh. I'd cut ties with my previous life in 3 days, then entered a jeweler's store and bought the ring with the nicest design. Damn, he's going full force. It had a gem as red as her eyes, covered in gems as clear as her hair. It wasn't particularly expensive, but I felt it suited her better than any of the others. I'm telling you, the ghost or spirit of Chiemi is going to come and haunt this guy. She's gonna find a way to just ruin his life as a ghost. Then, just as I promised, I returned to Fujiyoshi. I went to the officer, talked to Higuchi-san, passed the mountain path, arrived at Yasumisu, and saw something I couldn't believe. No fucking way. No, I shouldn't have left at all. Redo the loop, let's go. Why? Why was everyone dead? Ah, shit. Why was Yasunaga Uribe dead? He survived after saying goodbye to his best friend and the girl that was like a sister to him, hadn't he? Why was Yoshitsugu Uribe dead? He made it through his mother's death, found common ground with his brother, and had his whole life ahead of him, didn't he? Why was Kanzo Makishima dead? He lost his granddaughter, protected Yasumisu, and was about to live out his twilight years in peace, wasn't he? This is very funny how this is set up. Why was Takumi Muro dead? Likeable guy had discarded his inner discord, believed in himself, and helped bring us to victory, hadn't he? Why were all their heads split open? It was supposed to be over. We'd ended it all. That was how it was supposed to be, right? I begged. Hoped that someone was still alive. If no one was, what would have been the point of those sacrifices? Okay, I'm gonna try. He was like, Found one. A survivor. He was covered in blood, and held an axe covered in blood and gray matter. What the hell? The wolves are coming! Wait, what happened? What's going on here? What's going on? I then went on to murder him. Why is that? It's just so bluntly like, and then I went on to fucking murder him. It's so funny how quick, how that's written so matter-of-factly. After all, on one of the support beams, in the hall I found him in. What the fuck? Was her body hanging helplessly. What the fuck is going on? Also, this art looks very funny to me. I know it's a perspective thing. I've seen, there's been a lot of art, like, CGs in this game. Like, the one I talked about, like, a stream or two ago, where it was like our main guy and, Rikako, like, embracing, and she looked, like, really young or something, like, like, the way he's looking up at that, I know it's a forced down perspective thing, but it looks like he's, like, just a really tiny body, like, looking up. And I know, I shouldn't be laughing. This is a very, I mean, look at this scene. But damn, does this look funny for some reason. I love it. What the hell? What was all this? Also, his shoes are on the tatami mat. That's bad. What was all this? Why had I thought that I had it all in the bag? Everything was dead. Everything was lost. And I hadn't reached an end yet. He shouldn't have left. Is that what he's gonna learn from this? Oh. Shinai Sun's guardians are. The outside was shrouded in mist. One snake, two monkey, three crow, four spider. As though led by something. Yuki 5, prepare for the feast when the evening mist arrives. I passed the empty plaza. Six, the badger runs along, late with nary six. Went down the barren hill. Seven, the corrupt Yomibito rise to oppose the mountain. I too would be going insane if I came back after seemingly my happy life. Also, imagine if he didn't come back. He would be none the wiser. Imagine if he was like, I'm going back to my old life. He wouldn't know all this happened. He'd be fine, right? Ignorance is bliss type moment. Did you come to see me? I'm so happy. Huh? 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 Gotta go into my lower register here. A death of the damned, Yomibito is the mandate. Did you believe you could escape? Fall? Rise? Rise again and again? Nine, one soul per day, now to bind. Kirita ata. 10, the mist rise away. Again. As I threw myself into Saranaga's mists. No, Haruaki-sama! I felt like I could hear her voice. Akako-san. I couldn't fulfill my promise. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Please don't cry for me. I couldn't make you happy. I couldn't do anything to help you feel normal happiness. I couldn't dispel the darkness of Fujiyoshi. And I couldn't even get close to the core of the mystery surrounding it. How? What could I have done here? I needed a new path. I had to find one that could lead me to the truth. Yeah! Yeah! I think this is our second credits roll, so I think we officially finished like what I at least considered like two loops. 2 crazy loops. Now what the fuck though? But what the fuck? What the actual fuck? I can't wait to go have another conversation with my favorite, second favorite character, Corner Store Girl, who absolutely has no time for my bullshit. So what does he do? So we did the first loop. Clearly he was like, alright, in my second official loop, I'm going to become not an outsider because I need to directly impact the game. Prepare yourself for the next feast. So what does he do in this one? What's the big takeaway, right? Because, I mean, it seems too easy to just say, well, don't leave, right? Don't leave at that end, right? Like, you know what I mean? Leijing Lubu. Paradisical Babylon. Come again? There we go. The key we need. A key we need, I guess that's a kiwi. A kiwi. A kiwi! Obtain key 16, raising loop. Not a raging loop, but a raising loop. Raisin brand. I'm like just playing word association. So key 16. Where do we want to think key 16 goes, huh? That will determine ending number 2. Let's just take a look at her 16 key, huh? Raging loop. By determining the wolves and preventing the fatal rampage, the humans safely achieved victory. The mist cleared and the feast ended. All that was left for me to propose to the woman who loved me, or so I thought. Everything returned to ash. Yasumitsu was engulfed in mist again, and it seems I looped. The basic problem remains unsolved. I must solve all the mysteries, but how? I don't know if there will be more logic to it, but I do think either ultimately or in this next loop, because who knows how many fucking actual official loops we get here. But I do think there's something where he's got to like balance out the extremes of Rikako and Chiemi, and then we as a threesome, not in a weird way, but us as a threesome solve the mystery together somehow. That seems like, especially with how these first 2 loops have been, and we're so heavily on Chiemi's side in the first, so heavily on Rikako's side in the second, and they seem to be like catty towards each other, both in the superficial way of like them vying for my attention, but also just personalities. They're obviously different personalities, like different sides. One's a lot more passive, one's a lot more direct and, aggressive, for lack of a better term. I think narratively to me, thematically, it makes sense if it's like, all right, our guy is like, I got to balance these people out. They both have strengths that I could use to solve the problem. That's my guess. Ultimately, I don't know if that's going to end up and manifest in this 3rd loop, or that's going to be like a more late game, end game kind of thing. But that just feels so on topic and on theme for what we've seen so far in these 2 loops. These crazy, crazy loops. Fruit loops, you could even say. So we should see ending number 2. Watch hint corner. No. It's only just a dream. I was thinking about her, thinking about me, thinking about us, and what we're gonna be. Isn't that how that song goes? That was only just a dream. Alright, where do we think, show me that chart. We gotta find 16. You would think it's gonna be early, but it might still be like, what if it's not an official, like, way back? What if it is just... I'll start soon and head backwards, right? You would think it would be really early, but I'm going to just play safe here. I'm looking for a 16. I see 6, 5, and 6. Wait, what was... Oh, 5 and 6 is just that. Never mind. Got excited for a second. Thought I had missed something crucial. 16. 16. Decide arrangements, room assignments, first job. So it is in the 2nd loop. So it's not as far back as what we had to do. So I'm sorry, corner store girl head such as myself. I do not think we're going to be able to see her again. We might be too in it. We're too into it at this point. We're not going far back enough. I mean, this is not... I mean, this is clear. This is a branch off of the 2nd loop. Decide arrangements. I vaguely recall this, but also, like, this is first job. There's part of me that, like, wants to go, like, here, just so I can see, like, a little bit of the setup to it. I'm going to just... I don't think this is going to be the case. I would be very surprised if this game does it, but I'm just going to look for another 16 key just in case there's, like, another branching path that just takes the 16 key, or if there's one that takes 16 and something else. I think it's just of interest, right? Because I know we get thrown around a lot of numbers and things. This needs 3, 8, 19, 20. And just 20. I love looking at flowcharts. Okay, that's basically nothing. And there. Okay, perfect. So 16. Something about room charts. I'm trying to... Before I click in, I'm thinking this is clearly all set. We get the first job, so we're ingratiated into society, into this village where I'm not an outsider, and then decide arrangements. Because obviously this would have been a choice. What was the point? Was it like... Is this where we decided where the reporter and the photographer were going to stay for the night? Was that this point? That might be this point. Now that I'm recalling, and position-wise, this would be... And I kind of remember the choice where it was like, hey, because we had to clean up like one of the shacks or something. And if this is like deciding, because didn't the initial photography guy die because he went out to take a shit because there was no bathroom in his place or something? Am I remembering this correctly? This was not like a few streams ago. I think this is the case. I think this, before I click in, I'm locking in. I think this was, I'm going to imagine that this was deciding where to put the reporter and the photographer. I think. I don't know. I'm going to take a quick BRB because I've been reading now for 2 hours straight. I'm going to get some water. I'm going to go to the restroom, probably stretch my legs, and maybe like take like a quick, like, and I mean relatively quick, like snack bite, because I'm very hungry for some reason, but I want to wait, obviously, to eat a bigger meal later. So I'm going to do a quick BRB. I'm going to sit on here. I'm going to rack my brain while I'm doing that to see if I can come up with some other thing, because obviously we're going to see exactly what this is. But I'm locking in. My final thing was, if I'm testing my brain, I think this is deciding or something to do with the reporter and the photographer and where they will be staying, and what ultimately leads the photographer to die because for some reason he doesn't want to just shit in his little corner of his thing or whatever. I don't know. I'll be back. I'm going to throw up a BRB. It shouldn't take too long. Just give me a handful of minutes and then we'll continue reading. Be right back. Okay. Back. I want to make sure all the food was cleared out of my teeth before I was making like mouth noises on stream. Okay. Yeah. The only thing I can think of is I'm pretty sure this is where we decided who, the two outsiders, and I say outsiders in quotes, stay. So, but the one thing I've thought about, I think prior to me taking that BRB, I was like, oh, we're going to figure out a way to have them both participate in the game. But then I thought about it, and I was like, what if it means that instead of having Mamiya, that we just have the photographer guy whose name escapes me at the moment instead? Like, you know what I mean? What if this is purely just going to be we don't have Mamiya, we have photographer, and see what changes then? Because if we can only change who stays where, could the same thing happen to Mamiya where she's like, oh, I gotta take a shit, I gotta leave my place, and then she gets punished, dies? Or are we going to be able to see both in the game? That is what I wonder. That is the question.
興味深いわね。思いっきり浸透的な発想だけど、どういう由来で使ったのかしら。
Oh, also, I'd borrowed the place from Uematsu-san. I don't have the right to let just anyone use it. So enter. Oh, so it's not. So our option, because we don't get to see what the option is until we get the key, right? So is this, I take the prefab that doesn't have the bathroom since I know better to like do something bad? Is that what this is saying? So then you would assume that we're going to have both of them play the game. Don't worry, I can sleep anywhere and you're going to live here, aren't you? You should get used to your new home as quickly as possible. Yeah, I assume that we're probably going to get both of them in the game then. I'm going to enter the prefab myself. I get the shitty place. All possibilities. Reached darkness. Hello, darkness, my old friend. That's me starting another loop of Raging Loop. Hello, darkness, my old friend. This was it. If I let Hashimoto-san take the prefab, his death would be unavoidable. By keeping him alive, I should be able to create a different timeline. This picture. Simply surviving wasn't enough. The key to the whole mystery is this man. I can't wait. Get him on my team. We need a new guy off the bench. It's so sad. We've gotten 2 loops and we don't get to really explore this guy. Maybe he's so good. Maybe he'll be the best. That meant I had to try all possible options. I had to reveal all the things I was ignorant or afraid of. For all I knew, I might have been overlooking some minor yet important details. But first, I wanted to try more impactful changes. Letting Hashimoto-san survive would have to greatly affect the timeline. That already happened once with Mamiya-san's survival. It even changed the Guardians people received. I could still remember the last loop. I'd become the snake, took out the wolves, and decided to live alongside the survivors, most importantly Rikako-san. Those sentiments had earned an unreasonably cruel conclusion. I could still remember the sadness and despair, but I couldn't really understand it. Why had I forgotten my fear of the unknown? Why had it been so easy for me to decide to move to Yasumizu and live alongside Rikako Uematsu-san? Was I that kind of person? I didn't know why, but it definitely seemed like I wasn't really myself back then. I'd felt like I'd become a part of something greater, not just an individual. The gears all snapped into place and brought forth that tragic ending. These feelings and guesses coming to my head left me without a clue as to where to go from here. The part of me did feel like fate or something divine existed and that I couldn't escape its control no matter what. But my knowledge, discretion, perception, and intuition went to deny that.